Hello, everyone, and welcome back to GRAPPL FPL Club here on GRAPPL Patreon /YouTube /everywhere else. Don't call it a podcast though, Andy. We are here for what we're calling some regular streams. We're gonna have some different friends dropping in as we go. Jamesy's gonna be jumping on there momentarily, but yeah, got Jeff here, got Connor here. Good to be back, Andy.
It is. Yeah, I'm here to gloat. Top of the
On
league.
NFL
So,
fantasy or football, like what's your
oh no, fantasy, and also Rochdale are joint top of their league in the National League. So, all coming up Millhouse at the moment.
I
Beat
heard
me
you
in the
had some.
NFL this week as well.
Yeah, I heard you had some dodgy trades going on in that the NFL one, Andy. Something about you bringing in an injured quarterback or something this week, or is Mr. Chips over on the NFL side as well? Is that what's going on?
Yes. So the first pick I did, trade, I got rid of supposedly the best fucking wide receiver in the league for some duffer. And hey, you know what? It works out well for me. I beat Connor, whooped his ass this week. So
Can you confirm or deny, Connor? Is he running things over there?
No, tell him the truth. Tell him the truth. I did not do very well this week. So yeah, Andy got the better of me.
it's all beginners luck. I mean, the only NFL thing I've won was the UKFF NFL Predictions League. That were about 6 years ago, where the prize was I could get it on me on the banner on like my username on there.
It's fucking same every year for me. That it's like because again doing this because it's an international break. I'm going to jump in on the international breaks, but like Sunday with the being no Premier League on it was like, NFL Red Zone's back. I'll watch it. I lasted most of the episode, but as Jamesy said, by week 3, week 4, I'm still going to be in there. I'm going to try because I think every year I'm going to do it, but I usually will drop off as much as I enjoy. What's his name? Scott Hansen. He's the fucking king. He's so we need someone like him for FPL.
He's got so much energy, hasn't he?
Oh, he's amazing.
He must have a strong bladder as well because he's got to do that for God knows how many hours without having.
It's got to be a trick to that, hasn't it? Nips off and has a piss at some point or something like that. Pre-record some audio or something like that, or maybe it's as basic as just there's a jug under the table or something like that. Speaking of which, is that your plan, Jeff? I've got the red flagged Jeff Acton here with us this week. Andy can't come round to help you out, so hopefully you're all right over there.
I'm not that fucking desperate.
How's it going, mate? Good to have you on.
Yeah, nice to have me on, Benno. Thank you very much.
Oh, love it. Do we have a status update on you, mate? How many months left out have we got? At what point can we transfer you back in?
Bloody hell, probably about another 2 months, I think. Going in for an operation on Monday, so see what happens after that.
Oh, fingers crossed, mate. Yeah, it was a bit. We'll have you back in that pub at some point soon. Otherwise, Andy will just have to carry it in, money. We'll sort it out. No, he's saying no.
No, there's no chance of that. Yeah.
Maybe
we're both in hospital.
Maybe Linnae can help out. We're not sure where he is. Maybe he'll show up at some point. He's scared of you, Andy. That's what it is. You know, you've been doing so well in the fancy football stakes. You know, can't show his face.
He can't. Well, when I asked him on the weekend, have you looked at your team? Anything? No, not looked at it. No.
Oh, he's our stato as well. We're going to do without Connor. Can you do the stats? We need you, mate.
Absolutely not.
Mr. Spreadsheet, you can sort us out.
I'm tracking how badly I'm doing at the minute, but that's about it.
Oh, do you reckon we do this, Andy? Do you reckon we do the main league, the draft league? What's the what are you doing best in? What are you doing worst in? Maybe we should
probably main league would be best, and then the draft, I would say.
How many chips have you got left? That's the real question. That's what I want to
know. The answer is I have got left. Let's have a see. So I've got rid of wildcard. Which was used in game week 3, got rid of free hit, which was used in game week 2, and bench boost is active for week 4.
Is that all of them? I think that's everything, is it?
No, I've got triple captain left.
Yeah, just waiting for that mystery chip.
Honestly,
chip. But the thing was, when it like Planet FPL in James on Planet FPL first week bench boost, and that does seem a tactic with quite a lot of like content creators they either went bench boost first week and wondering about early wild cards, week 3, week 4. So it's a different way of going about things where usually it's just like people wait to use a wild card for like week 7 or 8, don't they?
Usually. But like this is your season, like we were saying when we were doing the draft, like this is the year where like there isn't really obvious weeks to be using the chips later on. The mystery chip's gonna blow everyone's minds in the second half. It wouldn't shock me if you get your hands on the mystery chip before January and find a way to use it in some way. But like with all that in mind, like it's probably the way to go. Like you said, so many content creators like got rid of the like say the bench boost at least in game week 1 and you know makes sense to be honest this year if there aren't going to be the doubles.
Yeah, you're sort of working around like Salah and Haaland, aren't you? Because you're either going to have one or the other or both together. But if you do have both, you're going to have a very poor lineup elsewhere. But Salah and Haaland have been at 82 points between them already. So it don't matter who you have. And a lot of the initial ones like Morgan Rogers, Nkunku, fucking Muniz, 2 points all around. Nkunku's been the Leon Bailey, hasn't he?
Yeah, IWC pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, you walked in on Chip Talk, Jamesy. Andy's gotten on left. Welcome. How are you, mate?
If he could use 2 in a week, he would.
Just saying, he's going to get that mystery chip before anyone else. He'll be using that in December somehow. He'll find a way. Chris Elliott wants to know what's everyone's guess for the mystery chip. I don't even know. Like, I don't know what it could even possibly be. Like, it's got to be something massive, though, hasn't it? Like, it'd be such a letdown if it's the robot arm or something like that, Jamesy. That's what I'm expecting. Like, some kind of big build up, and it's something like that, a big letdown.
My theory is that they don't even know themselves. Because if they're just making it up as they go along, because if they knew, they would have told us. So I don't know. It's hard to think. Could it be something like I know there's other fantasy games have like an all-out attack where you can play your 8 attackers in the 1 week or something like that, or
it could be something like that.
I don't know.
2 captains, wasn't that in like the Norwegian game or something like that one year? I always like the idea of that, but then that's
or unlimited funds for 1 week where you can literally pick anybody or something like that, or a lift on the 3 from a team or something like that, like a free hit where you can just pick.
That'd probably be the more sensible one, because if you did unlimited, you'd probably end up everyone having the same team, and you could pick 2 captains. Well, it's Haaland and Salah. You know what? They might take a game from that FPL challenge game which no one does.
Nobody plays.
Is that still going? I'm not even sure if it's still going.
Yeah, still going. Still going.
There, yeah.
I think that's been a big mistake, to be honest, with the FPL games. Like, and I know they try to make it fresh and what have you, but it's hard work enough just doing the normal game, like the challenge game. It's like, oh no, and I'm in the bloody EFL one with Linné and that, and it's like, oh shit, I've got to change my team for that. And as mentioned, like the NFL one, it just gets too much at times.
What's the one all the content creators are doing, James? It's like a big draft where there's like Praz and all of those guys are in it, like FPL Black Box. They did like a weird draft, but it wasn't on like the FPL game. I keep seeing it plugged, but I never quite understand.
I presume it's some app that they've all been told to plug. I think it's pretty much what we did. Yeah, exactly. We'd only beat them, Benno.
You would.
I presume it's some kind of an app that's an outside app that I didn't pay much attention. I kind of more and more all I see from these guys is that they're kind of being played to plug things. They're all on that Sorare thing as well, or Sorare, Sorare. I don't know if you know what that is, Andy. It's
no.
I don't know, is it kind of a thing where you buy players? It's like having trading cards for players or something, but it's real money or something.
Oh, I see more and more like a stock exchange.
Yeah, exactly. Like a market for football. You buy low and high, sell high, and that kind of thing. But they're all just plugging these things now. You know what I mean? So I presume they've all been thrown a few bob by that app.
I think they're all in with the same management company, so they're all pissing in the same pot. At the end of the day.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can't believe you're not playing it, Andy. Bit of money to be made there. Come on, but as a gambler, good work.
Well, if I actually found where the app was for it, I'd give it a go. But yeah, no, it's a dangerous game. Them like playing with stock exchange type games and betting. Just stick to the bloody 5:30 at Newmarket. And I'll do.
Oh, are we all feeling then a season so far, Jamesy? How's it been going for you, mate? We just mentioned there about the Salah versus Haaland issue. I don't know everyone's moaning about all these content creators. Just get them both. That's what I've done, and it's kind of half worked out for me. Rest of my team, more to be desired. I will probably be hitting the wildcard button in about 2 weeks if current plans happen. But yeah, how would you assess it so far?
I think first of all, in fairness to them, the pricing has been absolutely spot on. Like really, like the last few seasons, I think it's become very template, the game.
Yeah.
And like, you could afford nearly anybody. And then someone like Palmer last season being 4.5 when the game started, or 5 million when the game started. Stuff like him meant you could have a really high scoring player and still have lots of money available. And like it seemed like everybody had the same team. But I did my wild card the week just gone, actually. It feels like months ago now at this stage.
Wow.
And it was really, really I usually, when I do my wild card, say 10 to 12 players on my team, I'm pretty set on pretty quickly. And then you're just kind of fiddling around the edges with the rest of them. Like I never went back and forth on a wild card so much, because you can't have everybody anymore. You know what I mean? And you have to make really hard choices. And like we might talk about it in more detail later. Like I ended up going without Haaland because the team because he's 15. Obviously Haaland is Haaland, and you don't have to talk about how good an asset he is. But like the team I was able to put together without him, it gives you a genuine decision. Like before, you were spending, what was Haaland, 12 million. So you were basically, you were spending 88 million. Your budget was 88, and everybody, like 80 something % of the game had Haaland. Now there is a genuine choice to be made. You can't have, if you have Haaland and Salah, you have to make big sacrifices elsewhere in your team. You have to have 2 or 3 pretty cheap guys in your team. If you go without, you can have, like the reason I went out without is because I could have Salah, Saka, Palmer, Watkins up front, Trent at the back, an Arsenal defender. You can have so many other things, you know what I mean? And like there are people who have done really well this season who haven't had Haaland all season, even though he's got whatever it is, 51 points in 3 weeks. You know what I mean? There's genuinely different ways to get a good score now, whereas before it felt like we all just had the same team. We were all getting the same score. So it's really good from that point of view.
Can be deceiving, can't it? How about you, Jeff? You got it. Which way have you gone? You gone to Haaland?
Yeah, I wanted to go the Salah route and then spread the money across the team. I mean, I didn't really want to load the first 11 and then have like a really rubbish bench that you can't change. So it's pretty much spread about. I've not got any City players, surprisingly. I just thought Haaland's too much at 15 mil, and then the rest of them, they come in and out of the team, so you never know if you're going to have a settled side. But I'm not doing too bad.
What would you go with, Connor?
I've gone with Haaland for it, and it is one of them. Just like he's just so expensive, but it was just like I didn't have him initially, and then as we were coming towards the start of the season, I was just like, no, I need to get him in. And then I just had a look now. He's up to 15.2 now because everyone's had that panic and just like getting him in. So it's like it feels now like if you've committed without Haaland, it's like you're not getting him in, sort of thing. But I've kind of I've like invested a lot in like a lot of like premium players as well. I've got Saka, Palmer, Watkins, and Haaland. So the rest of my team struggling, I would say.
I think I've had a game week where I've had more than 2 like starting defenders. I'm one of the idiots who decides to go with a bunch of 4 million defenders and thought it was going to work out. I've still got fucking Kwanzaa burning a hole in my my defense. He will be transferred out this week. He's gone down to 4.3, which is a fucking nightmare. Like that's the thing. It's the price changes like that are killing me during this international break. But you can't. it's one of them. You can't work fast enough, can you, to sort it out? But that's literally where all my funds went into getting Salah and Haaland, and it meant I've got Greaves, whoever he is, don't even know what he looks like. It's like it's me defender who keeps slotting in every week. I even had some bad luck though as well, because I went for Lewis Hall from Newcastle as well, who's dropped out of favour despite looking good at the start of the season. But I just couldn't afford that. It ended up meaning I've got 2 defenders. I had who else did I? Oh, I had the Holy Trinity. I had Barco from Brighton as well.
I had him too.
He was before defender, so it's a fucking shit show. But it probably could have been predicted that it was coming, because I literally just didn't have the money to have 5 reliable defenders, really.
Yeah, I would say myself on like game week 1, I didn't have either Haaland or Salah. But I went on game week 2. I stuck Haaland in. That was on like my free hit, because I knew they've got Ipswich, had him as captain, which was a good move. And then like the wild card on week 3, building my team again, I put Salah in. But there was many ways of trying to fit both in. But I wanted one of like similar to Jamesy, like a Palmer or a Saka, and try and get Trent Alexander-Arnold in at the back. As a nice spine of the team, when I did try with Ireland, you're ending up with Harwood Bellis and from Southampton, and
He was on my list.
Jacob Greaves from Ipswich. For instance, I'm put him in the draft waivers this week because he gets up there for corners, looks dangerous, and they've got a good run of fixtures at the moment, Ipswich. A lot of green arrows, which probably don't mean anything, because Ipswich will be the whipping boys.
I'm surprised, James, you went so early on the wild card. I thought it's the press technique, isn't it? Of like he's waiting until game week 6 when the Arsenal fixtures swing back round positive again. That's arguably where I'm headed. I probably maybe should have pulled the trigger a little bit sooner with the state of my defence and stuff. But yeah, was it always the plan?
No, not at all. No, like you know me, I'm a very careful, boarding player for the most part. But I feel like this season it's okay to play it early. Like you can stockpile transfers. If you really wanted to save up transfers, like in 2 or 3 weeks' time, even 3 transfers, you could do a lot with your team. Which we could never do before. And there was a few things with my team. Like I had Barco. I had Lewis Hall. Let me look back to my first week. I had injuries. Let me see who there was. Yeah, I had Barco, Lewis Hall. Solanke was injured. I had Nkunku. So immediately there were 4 or 5 in my team. And like my bench was crap. I had Winks. I had Harwood Bellis. So there were 5 or 6 players in my team that I was happy enough to change. So I just said I'd go for it, and my plan was no Haaland. It's a dreadful experience not having Haaland. Like it's fucking horrible. I was watching, it was West Ham away they were playing the last day, wasn't it? And like I can't even remember. Like he the first chance he got, bang, back of the net. You're like, oh Jesus, here we go now. Second chance he gets, back of the net, and then there's a bit of a lull, and you're kind of thinking, I think he's on maybe like 9 or 10 points at that point, and you're thinking, not too bad. I know a little bit more than that, but not too bad. 2 goals, I'll take that. And then, of course, then in the second half, knocks another one in. You know what I mean? 3 chances, 3 goals. But like it didn't kill me, because in the same game week, I had Salah, and Salah got 17 points. You know what I mean? And then the other guys I had around the edges got some points as well. You know what I mean? So it's like, even on a game week where he had a hat trick and scored 17 points, he did take a massive chunk out of my ranking, but he didn't completely destroy me. You know what I mean? Like I had Palmer as a captain. He got 6 points. Wissa up front, 8 points. Trent at the back got 6. Saka got 6. Like everyone else is chipping away a few points here and there. And my plan when I did the wild card was to go without Haaland for 4 weeks. I've done 1 week of it. I've been kind of going back and forth now on whether I should just reverse the decision, but I think I'm just going to stick with it now at this stage. And the point was like that in the next 3 weeks, City have Arsenal, and I think is it Spurs they play, or let me see, who's City playing? Let me go. There's some difficult fixtures there anyway, and I thought, look, let's try and go against him. And at the same time, like Salah has really good fixtures. There's other players like I went with Watkins because he's brilliant fixtures now. You know what I mean? So the hope is that they can at least kind of, you know, make up for the points that he'll get. We'll see what happens. You know, I've committed to it now. I feel like I'm a coward if I take a -4 and just flip it back straight away. So I think I'm just going to see how it goes for the next. And then like City's fixtures really turn in game week 6 or 7. So the plan would be to try and save up transfers and have him back in by 7 then for their really good run.
Yeah, at that point, that might be like, it's still not going to be good because even if the fixtures are bad, he's still going to.
Oh yeah,
isn't he? But the bet, isn't it, that like I don't see many teams like Palmer. I haven't seen him barely any teams. It feels like when you look around because people just can't afford them because they're making those hard choices. That's the bet, hope, isn't it? Yeah. Someone like him is going to be around.
Him and Watkins are my hope that they aren't in many teams. They both have good fixtures for the next 3 or 4 weeks, and that between them they can kind of score more than he would. Like because if I was to do a -4 this week, it would have to be Watkins out and Palmer out, and it would be Haaland and probably a 4.5 million midfielder in. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm gambling on, really, that almost the combined total of the points they get in the next 3 weeks can at least keep pace with him, if not do better than him, you know. So maybe it's silly. Like, you know, if he keeps scoring at the rate he is, it will hurt me and it probably will kill my season. But if he has 2 off weeks in the next 3 and those guys do well, it'll be easy to climb as well, you know.
James, he weren't. So someone said the other week, if he keeps going at this rate, Haaland, he'll have 88 goals by the end of the season. Go on.
I reckon Jeff thinks that could happen. It could happen, couldn't it, Jeff?
Hey, you never know. He might get 87.
He might have one bad week.
Yeah.
That's the thing, though. It's like last week. Like I was literally like watching the games like through my like holes in my fingers because like I had the daft choice of having Salah and Haaland as possible for captains. I didn't go Haaland. He scored, you know, went off last week, and everyone's made up, and I'm looking at it going, yeah, it's great, but why the fuck didn't I captain him? And then Salah, because by virtue of being a midfielder and getting that extra point for a goal and that extra point for an assist, like didn't do as well as Haaland, but ended up equaling him points wise, and it ended up just being a wash. And I know that salary is also massively expensive, but you're gonna have weeks like that, aren't you, where it's gonna be like a Saka or it's gonna be a Palmer who are gonna probably they don't actually need to do as much as Haaland, do they, to match him point wise? So there's that too. And if you've got those options, it's worth doing.
And even like nobody has Son in their team. They just can't afford him. Like in years gone by, Son would be 40-50% owned. You know what I mean? Like lots of people would have him. No one has Kevin De Bruyne.
I say with myself, James, it was Son. I had him for the first 2 weeks. So the first week was that the week where Tottenham had so many chances, and I think they ended up drawing with Leicester.
Oh, Leicester, yeah.
Yeah. And then the week after, Son got 2. So he did me all right there, but I think out of them, you probably say Saka and Palmer over Son, out of the other premium midfielders. Yeah, De Bruyne would be one, but it depends, like with Foden, doesn't it? Because he's been out injured and he's maybe one for like later in the season, but he might find.
I think everyone's worried about injuries as well with De Bruyne, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So remember we did our draft.
Yeah, in the draft. He was like round 7 or 8 or something like that, wasn't it?
We all wrote him off, and now he's and he's there, and he's 9.5 million, I think. He is cheaper than those other guys, you know what I mean? But none of us have space in our team for him because we have all our funds in Salah or Haaland, you know what I mean? So as I said, the pricing is brilliant, you know what I mean? And there are so many different routes to doing well this season. Like I'd say if you look in the top 100, in the past it would nearly be the same. Everyone would have the same team. There's so many, like as I said, that there are people who from the very start haven't had Haaland and they've missed out on 51 points. But because Salah's doing well, because others are doing well, you can make up the difference for once, which is brilliant.
That's it. Chris Elliott here, yes. So, you know, saying he's one of the people who's got Son. He hasn't got Haaland or Salah.
I just had a look. He's 9% owned. Son.
Wow,
9%. Yeah, like he's usually 20, 30, 40, you know.
Chris Nagy said in here he wants us to rate us 2 wildcard drafts. You're in the right stream, mate. If you are, put it in the put the link in the comments. We'll have a little look.
That'll be £10 in the super chats then, Chris Nagy.
Well, speaking of which, we've got to go to you next, Andy. How's your season going, mate? You are the current leader of the GRAPPL league right now. You're doing well, mate. It's looking good, and we can probably compare. Speaking of wildcard drafts, can compare and contrast your one with James's one right there. It seems to be paying off for you, at least so far.
Yeah. Well, I sort of thought I'd put Martinez in because Villa's got the good run of fixtures coming up. I did have Bernd Leno in for Fulham, so I was tinkering between having both them two in. But obviously the transfer of Aaron Ramsdale to Southampton made a good decision for me because he's only 4.4 million. He's going to be playing every game. Whether Southampton get thumped every game, that's another thing. So on the weeks where I think it's in a couple of weeks' time where Ramsdale's got like Ipswich at home and Martinez has got a pretty easy fixture, I might just stick Ramsdale in just because of the easiness. The disappointment in defence has been Gvardiol. It's Man City's illness of conceding a goal every time, even though they win about 3 or 4-1. Saliba, he's someone who I've dropped for me this coming week. I've took a -4 on a bench boost, just so I could get Andy Robertson in from Liverpool because I think Liverpool assets at the moment are maybe the way to go. You could you're picking between probably about 5 Liverpool players at the moment: Trent, Robertson, Salah, Jota, and Diaz. You can't see like up front Gakpo or that donkey Darwin Núñez getting anywhere close at the moment, can you? As much as content creators try and like push it, Darwin Núñez, he might turn up and take Jota's place. No, they're just planting seeds in your head just to, send you under.
I've enjoyed Robertson being back. It feels nostalgic, like that. He's that option just a little bit below Trent that I can afford this week. I could bring him in with no hit just to have him for the next couple of games before a wild card with those good Liverpool fixtures. I'm probably going to do it, to be honest. Again, better shout than Quansah, so it's the only way is up.
Yeah, Salah, I think he's the way to go at the moment. Out of the two, just on fixtures. Smith Rowe, he's going to be one of them players where, like I think the week before in game week 2, he got 10 points, but then he'll throw in a 2-pointer. It's going to be he'll get he'll be consistent with his points, but whether he'll be in my team in another 4 or 5 weeks, that's debatable. Cole Palmer, I'm looking probably to get shut of him in week 6 when Arsenal get the fixtures back with Saka. But Brian Mbeumo, he's going to be the main man for Brentford. I'll just keep him in there, even though they've got City this weekend, but they've done well against City in the past.
I regretted not bringing him in last week, but he's got that ropey City fixture. I don't think the fixture after's great either, so might wait a couple of weeks for that. But
he's
as soon as Tony went, it was like, all right, there we go.
Yeah, he's another one in week 6, in it, week 6, 7, like wild card drafts that some are doing. Rodrigo Muniz, shit. That's all I've got to say. I sort of wish I kept with Chris Wood. But I've kept Muniz in and got rid of Visser for this week. I put the FPL Andy favourite in, João Pedro, because Brighton have got good fixtures, but they've also got about 25 strikers and midfielders to choose from. So he'll probably get dropped this week after his 45 minutes playing for Brazil. Watkins is the worry, I do feel, at the moment, because they try to put in your head they try to put in your head that he's struggling with fitness and that John Duran because he scored 2 goals and got off the witness protection list, off the missing persons list. Sorry, he's sort of an option to pick, but Watkins will probably be one I'll get shut of when City get their good fixtures. So Haaland will be going in then, and then I'll be swapping Salah out for, say, an Eze at 7 million. I can't believe like week 1, I was tinkering with Marcus Rashford. What the fuck were we doing there?
I know. I remember when you were telling me that, Andy, and I thought, come on, did you not see him last season? You were more bothered about school dinners than playing at left wing.
Yeah. And the obvious one I mentioned earlier was Nkunku. But Chelsea are madder than a box of frogs, aren't they? You know, the amount of players that they've signed, you just don't know who's turning up in a jersey for them at the moment.
What's going on with United? Speaking of Rashford, James, everyone was kind of feeling good about Bruno week 1. A lot of that in drafts. You still see a couple of the cheaper defenders, but they're already disappearing from people's teams.
Yeah, I just think the manager's style is. It makes no sense. Like he's supposed to be tactically sound and know what he's doing tactically, but he just seems to insist upon leaving these massive holes in midfield and kind of not really committing to playing out from the back, but also not committing to it. There's no discernible style. You know what I mean? Like he's coming into his 3rd season now as United manager, and I find it hard to articulate what his like most managers at a big club, if they've been there for 3 years, you could very easily summarize their playing style in a couple of sentences. I don't know what his plan is, you know what I mean? And it's just weird, you know what I mean? And like, you know, there's a lot of optimism around United amongst fans at the moment because I suppose of the off-field stuff, you know, the fact that the Glazers have kind of been pushed into the background and there's finally a proper structure there above the manager, and they did more sensible business in the summer this time and they sold better. I think you won't see the fruits of that, unfortunately, until the next manager after Ten Hag comes in. And I just can't see him lasting at this stage. You know what I mean? Like I was all prepared to give him one more chance this year, but there's nothing there in the last few games. Like the first game was against Fulham. They were, you know, they scored a late. They played okay, scored a late winner. You'd say they just about deserved to win. Brighton the next week, not great. And then who did they lose to? And then the Liverpool game, that was very poor. You know, Liverpool were, without breaking a sweat, beat them pretty easily in their own ground. You know what I mean? So, not great. And like the only reason I would say to people is if you do have a United player, maybe you don't have to sell them this week because it's Southampton away. If you did have Bruno, you might hang on for one more week in the hope that they'd, because Southampton aren't great. But you know, after that, I was on a wild card last week and I probably gave no more than 10 seconds thought to United players because they're just not, you just can't rely on them at the moment.
I think the only one you maybe have that Mazraoui.
Yeah.
You know, because it's a cheap defender.
Yeah.
He's got about 13 or 14 points from the 3 games at the moment.
Yeah, he gets forward a bit, you know what I mean? But even then, there's 4.5 defenders with better fixtures. You know, like if Villa have good fixtures, you might be Brighton defender.
Brighton, yeah.
Robinson at Fulham. You know, there's ones that you'd want more, I think, to be honest. Or Lewis at Man City, if you think he'll stay in the team, go for him, you know.
I've been tempted. I just can't justify it with like so many other people not starting, but he looks like he'll be a killer if he keeps his place. At a good price as well. But yeah, speaking of the City lads, sorry, I've only just realised, Connor, that you're a City supporter looking at your page.
Yep, I am as well.
But yeah, we got the 2 City lads in the corner. We'll go with you, Jeff. How's your season been so far, mate? How you feeling?
City-wise, quite confident. I mean, even though they're obviously not signed a lot of players, just got Gundogan back on a free, and Savio, he looks quite good, the new Mahrez. I was quite worried that they hadn't signed a second striker, to be honest, after getting shut of Alvarez for quite a few bob. But they have played, when Haaland was injured, as a false 9, somebody else as well. So maybe it's not too much to worry about. But all in all, you know, they're going great guns, aren't they?
And why aren't any of them in your team? That's my question. Where are they?
Exactly the same, the same thing, really. I just I don't trust them playing week to week. You know, obviously chops and changes that much. There's probably only Edison in the net and Ireland that are the two that stay. Apart from that, you know, you take your pick.
You worried about the charges, Jeff? I see that the whole hearing is starting up now. I think, isn't it, in the next few days? Or
Right? No, it'll drag on forever and ever. That I think.
Yeah.
You've got better solicitors than Everton did, so you'll be all right. You'll be safe.
But it's ridiculous, isn't it? Really. You know how Everton's been pillared, and obviously City's got 115 going at them. But it's just going to take a hell of a lot of time to try and sift through it all, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the thing. But yeah, how are you feeling about the FPL side, Jeff? Got a stronger looking team there. Couple of differentials in there. A lot of Newcastle lads. Any overall thoughts?
I think I've started off with like a lot of the IWC lot, you know, like Isaks and then like Jota. I think I had Solanke in before he got injured. I think it was either game week 1 or 2. So yeah, I've had to change him to Watkins, and then he goes and gets yellow flagged as well. But like everybody says, he's got great fixtures. I think the one that stands out for me is like a bit of a hidden gem is that Semenyo for Bournemouth. I think it's about 5.5. I think he's got either an assist or a goal in the first 3 matches. Ever since Solanke left, I think he's like one of the main men up top, even though he's classed as a midfielder.
Yeah, there was a point during the end of last season where he was dead cheap, and I think the Bournemouth had a double at some point or something like that near the end of the season. I was dreading. I was definitely thinking I should have got him in. Yeah, nice little shout there, nice slow and steady one.
Yeah, that's it.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, Jeff, you've still got your mate Daniel Munoz there.
Yeah, I mean, he does get forward a lot. I mean, Palace they haven't been playing as well as what they did last season. You know, I think they were really good defensively. Obviously, they stole Anderson. Elise's gone, you know, with the creativity. So probably not as strong a side as what they were last season. But for him, I mean, you know, he really does bomb forward. He's a bit of an assist machine for Palace, I know, for his country as well. So you never know, things might change.
Yeah, you're probably going to, just looking at your team there, you're probably going to swap him in and out with maybe Smith Rowe, aren't you, or Porro, depending on the fixtures.
Yeah, I think for this week I put Semenyo in, I put Munoz in and took Porro out because they're against Arsenal, even though I think Arsenal's trouble is they haven't got a midfield this week.
Yeah.
They've all got cropped, haven't they?
They did say with Porro he had the most shots out of anyone in week 3.
Yeah, depends where they're going though, doesn't it?
Yeah. Rolls
said.
Would you play him this week, Jeff?
I'll be honest. He's got a squeak, but it's Tottenham, and they don't keep clean sheets neither. So, you know, you're looking for an attacking return, aren't you?
Yeah. I have him as well, and I have a bit of a dilemma whether to play him or Konsa. Like Konsa has Everton at home, which is a good fixture. But it's like he's a centre half, so it's the only points. It's clean sheet or nothing, isn't it? It's 6 or 2. Whereas like Porro gets forward so much, and with Arsenal's injuries in midfield, I just think there might be a chance for him to get forward there. Rice is big for them defensively, and if he's not there, I don't know. I just feel like I might play Porro. I wasn't going to play Porro. I think I just might throw him in there this week. Not expecting a clean sheet, but just hoping for him to do something in the attacking third. You know,
if he was a midfielder, you'd play him, wouldn't you? I think
absolutely.
Like, you'd be like, bad fixture, but I'm going to play him over whoever my other fifth mid would have been. Or you'd play him over a defender with a better fixture, wouldn't you? So
and the way Spurs play, he practically is a midfielder, you know. So
with extra points for the odd clean sheet. That's it.
Yeah. With Tottenham defenders though, in week 2 I had Christian Romero who got me like 14 or 16 points, and I'd only stuck him in instead of Porro because I saw week 1 against Leicester, and every corner that I'd be going in, Romero was there, just like attacking it forwards. So he looks if you don't fancy Porro at 5.5, like Romero's $500,000 cheaper, and he always pops up. I think he got 5 goals last season, so he's a good option.
He also gets a few cards as well, though, Andrew, don't he? I think
he does. Yeah, he does have he does have a sponsorship with Clinton's if they're still going.
Oh no, they're not.
They're not. Moon pig then.
Yeah, always too expensive for me, Clintons. There we go. How are you feeling, Connor? How about your lot?
Relatively
both City
happy.
and FPL points.
Relatively, I'm very happy with how City are doing. The FPL not as much with it. It's one of them that I'm unsure with like a lot of my team at the moment. Not to the point where I want a wild card, but it's kind of like making these like odd tweaks until I am happy. I feel like I'm happy. Like I've got rid of. So I ended up with 2 Southampton 4 million defenders when Barco got sold, and I was like, oh no, his price is going to drop. I just need to swap him for a professional footballer. So I just swapped it, and then I was like, oh no, I've ended up with 2 of the same here. So I've got rid of him this week. Thankfully, I've got rid of Harwood Bellis this week because last week I got rid of Solanke for it just to bring in João Pedro. So that left me with some money. So now I've got Van Dijk in there. So like I'm quite happy with that defense of like a Newcastle defender, Gvardiol, Saliba. So it's like I'm getting there, and I'm like happy with overall who's starting. But there's a lot of people who are really it's really hurting me at the minute because a lot of the players like Jota, Jota's especially one that's hurting me, but a lot of and Isak as well is one I just like refuse to get for it just because a lot of the players who like have been injury prone in the past, I'm far too cautious to bring them in, and every single one of them like seems to be hurting me right now. So I'm playing it safe, but I feel like I'm just saying to myself, it's like it'll be okay, they won't get hurt. So I'm feeling relatively happy. I just need things to turn a little bit really for me. But I'm not tempted to play my wild card yet. I used my triple captain like everyone else who had Haaland did on game week 2. But yeah, I feel like it's a work in progress, which is not ideal for 4 weeks in, but
doing all right. Solid that, and I got the wild card in your back pocket like me, mate. It's like I say, those fixture term we'll catch up to them. We'll catch up to the Andy Ogdens of the world at that point. But I'm in a very similar boat to you. Like this is my lot, and like I say, that Salah captaincy came through for me over Haaland this week. But same thing happened to me. Solanke had to bin off for João Pedro, who was in a lot of me drafts leading into like the start of the season. So it's fine. It's kind of just I've done the old ghetto. You know what I mean? When somebody gets injured, then you just slot somebody else into the exact same feud, the exact same booking. It's like, well, it would have been João Pedro if it wasn't Solanke. So I'll bring him in, and he's been solid so far. Didn't expect any points this week, obviously against Arsenal. So I'll take it. It's just like I say, looking at my lot, it is purely the defense that's let me down. I did spend the money on getting Gvardiol, and as you said, Andy, that's just not worked out unbelievably. Once I made that little shift around with the money, but that'll come good.
I think it's that thing at the back end of last season with Gvardiol when he went off. He scored 4 or 5 goals and thinking he's like this scoring machine. But during the Euros, it was similar. Like a lot of people had him in that. Did fuck all there. 2 points here and there. Nothing.
I think it's because of Rico Lewis. I think because they play Gvardiol left back, I think when they play Walker as the right back, they let Gvardiol go high up the pitch.
Yeah.
Whereas now at the moment they've Rico Lewis and they're moving him into midfield, and it means then when they have the ball, Gvardiol actually sits back in the back 3. So it's all you're getting from him is the clean sheet points if they get clean sheets, and you know how frustrating City are. Like they'll, as you said, Jeff, or Andy, I think it was said, they'd be 3-0 up and coasting, and you'd be rubbing your hands thinking, surely my 6 points is in the bag here. Maybe get 8 or 9 points. I might get some bonus points, and Ederson lets one squirt under his body in the 86th minute, and the only shot that the opponents have all game when it goes in. You know what I mean? So it's just the setup at the moment. I think if Walker went back into the team, I think things would change quite quickly with Guardiola. I think suddenly he'd be getting further up the wing, and I think that's the big difference with him at the moment.
Yeah, that's it. I managed to get the little bit of funds for him by bringing in Smith Rowe, which again there's kind of half worked out, but not really. Big expectations on him this season. Did well week 1, and then after that it's been pretty quiet. But Fulham have got good fixtures coming up, so quite happy to have him in there if he can. One of the ex-Arsenal boys, see if he can offer me something different. And the other big like character in man is Eze. Like that week when I was looking to like make some money in my squad and shore things up, it was Gordon who went for Smith Rowe. I was considering getting rid of Eze, but like it was daft because his price went down, didn't it? Everybody was getting rid, but his actual performances were good. His numbers were good. He just wasn't returning points, was he? So I was made up this week to get the 10 from him and hold firm. And now looking forward, like Palace have got some of the best fixtures coming up as well over the next couple of weeks. So yeah, that just kind of shows you, really, doesn't it? Like some of those price changes can be a little bit misleading, can't they, Jamesy?
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. And like I had Eze for the first 2 weeks and got rid. I had Eze and Isak. So this week on my wild card, got rid of them both. And so that's 19 points down the drain there straight away. You know what I mean? So I think Eze, he's what, 7 million. You know, so he's cheaper than the likes of Saka and Palmer and all those guys. I think he's the kind of guy you just leave there in your team and don't worry too much about him. You know what I mean? Because if you did sell him, there's not many others at that price range that would be better. Like, you know, if you had Eze and say Mbumo in your team, 7 million each, just leave them there. They'll tick along. You know, you're not going to get better. You know, you either have to sell them and drop down to maybe a 5.5, or you have to find money to go up to one of the guys who's around 10 million. You know what I mean? So just leave them in. If you have both of those in your team, I have neither, and I'd love to have them both. You know what I mean? Just leave them there. Let them tick away. I think they're, as you said, like Eze, even when he was blanking, his XG was really good. He was getting shots away. He's probably taking their penalties as well if it comes to it. Bumo takes penalties for Brentford. He's their central striker now. He's the main man in the team. Just guys like that, you don't have to worry about. Just leave them there for the whole season if you can. Yeah. And they'll tip away. You know, at the end of the season, they'll have something like 160, 180 points and, you know, happy days.
That's what you're getting them for, isn't it? Those are the ones who aren't for Christmas. That, you know, they're not just for Christmas. Those types of players, they are your types of players who are going to tick over a number of weeks, type of thing. So you've got to keep the patience with them, haven't you? But I was going to say I'll quickly throw up the GRAPPL league so far before we will go into the draft in a bit. But we've actually got a super chat, lads. So we'll do that next. I know. What? It might be the first one in GRAPPL. I think we've had one on the wrestling side before. So
better not be fucking Will Ospreay by now.
Listen, mate, your avenues to talk to me here no longer exist. It could be.
If it is, I'm gone.
But yeah, we actually do have a super chat this time. So yeah, good to there you go. That's what brings us. James is the real draw, not that Ospreay one. But yeah, looking at that's the draft league there, isn't it? I've got it up there. I'll bring up the overall FPL league. But you're doing well in both places at the minute, Andy. It's looking good for you at the very the top tippy top of the league.
It's all downhill from here, isn't it? To be honest, I'd say my ranking last week it only went down about 400 places, even though I got 83 points. So you know, it's a little red arrow, but you know, take that.
Well, there we go. So yeah, it's Andy on top. We got Jordan there in
he's always there, Jordan, isn't he?
He's always there or thereabouts, isn't he? At given moment. But yeah, it's one of them. It's early on. Chris, you said there, Crystal and I wasn't doing particularly well, but that's the overall GRAPPL league, and he's still doing pretty strong for someone who's not logging into to check his team at this point. You know, it's early in the season, but he's got to be happy with that. I'm over in fourth there in the GRAPPL FPL Club 1. Connor, yeah, you're coming up behind me in fifth there, so it's still all to play for there. I understand why you hit the wild card, Jamesy, being there in 10th. Poor Chris Elliott coming up the rear at the back there as well. Good to see Martin Bush be floating around as well. Still at it. He was always the name we'd go to in the when we'd go to the league and keep an eye on where he was, whether he was above Matty and Will Cooling was always the test there. But yeah, still early, and I think the thing to note is really, point-wise, like, there isn't gigantic differences, is there, between the people who are allegedly doing badly and the, like I say, maybe apart from you, Andy, you're a few ahead of me there. It's still very much close, isn't it? It's still very, very early.
Yeah,
I think the change in rank is wild as well. Like, you're 2 points ahead of me, Benno, and I think I'm like 5 million, and you're like in the top million for it. So it's like that point range there's just so much in it.
See, mine's like about 11,500 overall, but in my work league, what I'm in, the huge one, like 900 players. The lad who's I'm second in that, and the lad who's top is 20 points ahead of me. It's like, how?
Yeah.
So that's probably like top 100 there, or even in single figures. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, that's it. There's not much in it, is there? It's like the proper league, in it right now. You just it was still at that point where you could make arguments for teams being above each other on alphabetical purposes. You know, I think it's still early enough that nobody needs to be.
I were doing that. I were doing that Tuesday night, Benno, with National League. It's like Rochdale's same points as Gateshead, and Gateshead are only above us on alphabet.
Gotta love it. But yeah, so this is Chris Nagy, who's in the chat there, says there his overall points are a 241. He's on. So around if he was in the GRAPPL league, he'd be there about fifth or sixth between Connor and Gareth. So you'd be doing well. 101 last game week, but he's the man with the wildcard draft. So we do need to have a look at them. Thank you again for the super chat. But there we go. These are the two drafts that he's put up. So the first draft that we've got, I'll read it out if it's a bit hard to see. So we've got Sanchez in goal, Rico Lewis, Trent and Conser in defence, Minty Minte, Eze, Mo Salah and Semenyo in midfield, Isaac, Haaland and João Pedro up front. We've got Fabianski and Bueno on the bench, which is a great first sub to have. We've got Face and we've got Mikolenko as far as his other bench player there. And then looking at the other option, we have Sanchez in goal, Lewis in defence, Trent and Conser. We got Palmer this time, which is probably where the money's gone. Eze, Mo Salah and Semenyo. And then we've got Muniz up front with Haaland and João Pedro. And then the bench is Fabianski, Greaves, that man again, Face and Winksy. They're another favourite from a few of our squads. Go to you first, James. What you make of these two as wild cards at this game week 4 stage?
Can you put them side by side again, just to quickly compare? Yeah. I know it's probably quite small, but yeah.
Yeah, I'll try and zoom in.
Yeah, so the difference is, so he has Palmer. It's basically Palmer and
Minty
Palmer
in it.
Yeah, Palmer and Muniz, or Isaac and Minty, basically, isn't it? And there's a bit of a stronger bench on the left. My first instinct is the team on the left, personally, just because I think the stronger bench is a good idea. I don't fancy Muniz at the moment. The more the season goes on, the more I think maybe that run he had last season was just a flash in the pan, and that's it for him. So I'm not a huge fan of him. So the more I look at it, I would probably lean towards the team with Isaac and Minte. Like Minte has a brilliant fixture this week as well. He has a nice, like you can, if you look at his team on the left there, he has Pedro of Brighton and Bumo from Brentford. If you actually look at the fixtures those two teams have, if you alternate those two in your team pretty much every week, they have a brilliant fixture from now for ages into the season. So yeah, I like the team on the left personally.
Anyone else? Andy, what do you reckon?
I'd probably say the team on the left. And the player who I get shut off is Bobby Sanchez for Chelsea. Shite. It was shite at Rochdale.
Oh, that's who the goalie is. Okay.
I'd probably stick in
Oh, yeah.
Flecken for Brentford. He's the other 4.5 million, or maybe Ramsdale. Wouldn't have Sanchez in a month of Sundays.
Yeah, that's probably the weak point, isn't it? And again, if you can get another 500,000 from somewhere, there's got to be other options as well. But yeah, I like it, and I like again, it's the way I think a lot of people are going to go right now, which is Salah and Haaland. It's just the matter of what you do around it, really, that is the difference. But yeah, looking at those two teams, they're both very strong. I think as far as like forwards go, I think I prefer João Pedro and Isaac. I think Newcastle are kind of out of fashion right now. People are getting rid, but I saw somebody say today, like, they're one of the few teams, aren't they, with like, there's no Europe, there's nothing outside that's going to distract them.
Yeah.
Once they do get going, people are going to be bringing Isaac back in droves. There was a reason a lot of people were bringing him in game week 1. I did it. A lot of people getting rid of Gordon as well, which is probably not going to age particularly well. So I think I maybe slightly prefer that. Plus, I like the fact that Mbueno's there as well. I'd have him in my starting lineup. It'd be hard to see who to drop, to be honest. Probably Semenyo out of that lot. Obviously, in any other week that Brentford aren't playing City. But yeah, don't know if anyone else got any other thoughts.
Yeah, same. That's probably the one on the left with Bremo on the bench. But like our Andrew says, get rid of the goalie. There's better options out there.
It's the big weak link. That's it. Connor, will you be doing something like this in a couple of weeks?
Yeah, I like that. Same as everyone else. That one stood out to me straight away. With it that Mbueno on the bench makes sense with it being City this week.
Yeah.
For an easy fixture, easier fixture for Minter. But yeah, that's a really strong one. As far as the keepers go, Fabianski, I guess, is a bit of a risk right now because he just came in for Areola, didn't he? But it's like I don't think they've really said why they swapped him out. But yeah, that one definitely straight away came in for me.
Is there a big price difference between Minter and what you call him, Matoma?
$1 million, 1 million. I was going to say Matoma's the forgotten guy, isn't he?
Yeah. He's putting points on the board. Like I was weird at the start of the season when he just wasn't really referenced. We've seen it a lot though, haven't we, in FPL, where you see somebody and then they have that great season and then they come back and it's just not the same. But he's looking good again.
Because he had injuries, didn't he, at the back end of last season, and that's probably why people have forgot about him as an option. Who's it as well from Wolves? Wang were another one. No one mentioned him this time, but I don't think Wolves have kicked off yet.
They've had a really bad run of fixtures though. Wolves have.
Definitely. But yeah, we like them both really. No, only major thing is probably the goalie.
That's a really good team.
Pretty much what I do. Yeah, I like it.
It's hard to fault it. Like, you might say Mikalenko on the bench, but like I still think Everton at some point will still come good. I still trust that Dyche will get that. Like, they always start slow, don't they? They always start the first 5 games of the season.
We do.
They lose a few. I still trust Dyche to get them going. And I think in a couple of weeks, I think Everton's fixtures turn really good. And I think Mikalenko's only 4.4 now. So even as a guy, as your fourth, like he'd be your fourth defender there, I don't hate that either, So it's a really good team.
Well, the good thing is by then, Jamesy Moyes will be back, so we'll be sound. Safe as ours. Is that defence? You bet your life on that defence. Probably a lot of time.
I think at some point people will be buying Everton defenders in the season. He'll get them. He'll get them keeping clean sheet. They don't have Branthwaite back yet. I think take Michael Keane out of that team, put Branthwaite back in there, and it's a much better defence straight away. You know what I mean? So I still wouldn't worry too much about Everton.
I think I maybe like for now spend the 4.5 somewhere else. Can't really say who. There's nowhere obvious, but and then maybe move later. That'd probably be the point. But if it's one of them where you can get them for 4.4, and that's the difference. With price rises.
And if you're playing a wild card early, you have to kind of plan for the next 15 weeks, not just for the next few.
Exactly.
This is it until game week. What is it, 18 or 19? You get the next one. So you kind of have to look a bit far ahead as well.
Best place for that's FPL team, innit? That's been a godsend for me. That just when I've got a quiet hour when nothing on telly, just like have a fiddle around with that.
It's addictive, isn't it?
It's cracking. Really is a good tool.
It's a brilliant idea. Yeah.
The thing I was gutted about this season was the fact that I use that and I use livefpl.net. On livefpl.net, I had all of my real enemies, basically you lot, and all of my imagined enemies, which is like all the content creators I watch, in my favourites on it. And I was so fuming when I logged in this season. I was like, oh yeah, everyone's team ID's changed, so I've lost all my favourites. I have to rebuild that up again to set it up. But once you do it, worth its weight in gold.
Is it still around? Is it still around that?
It is. It's kind of fell behind, hasn't it? Because there's so many other like live league table type websites now, but I still find it the most useful.
I still think it's the best out there. I spend most of my weekend on that, refreshing it.
Refresh,
because we tend to use. I think it was Connor who brought this option up. The live FPL tables, weren't it? I think that's been really good.
That one's really good.
I just like live FPL for the it's really instructive in terms of telling you the players who can hurt you. You know the way when you scroll down, you can see for every point. If you don't have Salah, it tells you how much rank it will cost you if Salah gets 1 point and that kind of thing. I think it's really good to be looking at that, just so you know in your head, okay, these are the guys that if I don't have them, I should be thinking about a way to get them, kind of a thing. It's really helped me as a player to kind of look at that a lot.
Yeah, Chris Nagy says here, you guys think Sanchez will be replaced in goal by whom and why?
There's that lad who they signed for 20 million, weren't it? He's possibly the one. Isn't he like Danish?
I don't think it's so much that he'll be replaced as just that
he's just dodgy.
And there's better options at 4.5. Like you said, Flecken. Or even the Brighton keeper. I think Brighton have tightened up quite a lot at the back, and they have
Verbruggen in it.
Yeah, decent fixtures for the next while as well.
So the Chelsea keepers, you got Jorgensen's the other one. That's the lad who they signed for 20 million. You got Bergstrom and Bettinelli who won't get in, but but it's like James has said, it's not a reason that he'll get replaced. It's just because he's dodgy.
We've got another super chat here, unbelievably, lads. It's from a non-problematic Will, as Will thinks. I ain't Osprey, but I am a Will. I can't do flips, but whenever I move my limbs with defying gravity, can't sell at Wembley, but also follow HR policies. They're trying to get between us here, Jamesy. It's what they're doing.
He's stirring it up now.
Superb. No FPL question, just £5. Thanks, Will. Appreciate it, mate. So also for the you're I see. What a man. There we go. Well, unless anyone's got any others, we'll do as many Meet My Teams as people want. How are we feeling on the draft this year so far? I've seen you a lot in the air. The movers and shakers, I'm assuming you do the same in the NFL, Andy. It's constantly just see your name. Not just trying to do waivers, but also trying to make transfers happen. I had the option when I set up the draft this year. It was like, make it so that as league administrator, you have to approve all trades. And I was like, I'll literally be there all week trying to approve Andy's trades or not.
Friday morning, Benno, at 11 o'clock. It's like, okay.
To get out of bed early for that. It's not happening. But been active, mate. I'll bring the league up now for the.
I've got 7 in this week, and just to let you know already.
No. I'm decidedly mid-table in the draft. We had it up before. It's Rory who's on top, isn't he? So it's actually Rory's top, and Andy, you're in second place right now with the old draft league. And then who've we got after that? There we go. Is that the one?
I think Lene's in there, isn't it? But he got. I think he's on that.
Yeah, there we go. Rory, Andy, We got Carl. We got the bench warmers with Chris Lene there. We got me. Then we got Chris Elliott, Jeff. James is there. Jamesy flag a little bit behind, moving up, and then we got Jordan, Gareth, and Eddie rock bottom at the minute. Tactical, I'm sure.
Eddie doing a Leicester City winning the title and then going down a couple of seasons later.
You had much activity going on in the market, Jamesy?
I actually totally forgot about the draft, so you've reminded me now. I must get on there later. Yeah, it's a funny one. I like, and my problem now is I think my first pick when we did the draft was Odegaard, and he's after getting an injury now. And the problem with the draft is, like, if it was the normal game, you just sell Odegaard and bring someone in, no problem. But the dilemma now is, say he's out for 6 weeks, do I really let go of my top pick? Or do you just? But then you're sitting them on your bench, and they're taking up a spot on your bench every week, and it's kind of frustrating to know what to do. So, yeah, I feel it. Like, and this league is brutal. Like, it's so hard to get any kind of an edge because every week you think, oh, I've thought of somebody there now. No one will think of, and then sure, 7 or 8 people have all gone for them. Like,
I like your team name, Jamesy.
Delict.
Love it.
But yeah, like, so you take Odegaard out of that midfield, and like, it's as usual. My nemesis every year in this game is strikers. I always when we're doing the draft,
just on enough of them, is there?
I always leave them for a few rounds. By the time I get to them, there's like I got Highland this year knowing he was injured. So I've got Vardy, like, I'm sure he'll probably break in a few weeks as well. Like, he's going to last the season. So I will see how it goes. Yeah, it's as I said, it's just so hard to get any kind of an edge in this league because everyone's clued in. There's 12 teams. The competition is serious. Like, even if you look at the league, like, anybody can beat anyone any week,
And it's always the same as well. You end up doing the Gareth special where you have the person with the most points is not necessarily the person who wins the most games in the draft is the thing. Although it's relatively, Eddie's got a rightful gripe, I'd say, on bottom there, 110. It's actually Gareth who's for once trailing behind there. The grapple Gareth tactics maybe not working out this year, but yeah, it's kind of like the luck of the draw in the old draft. With me, I'm quite relatively happy with my team. They've just been underperforming. I was like quietly really confident about my squad going in. Obviously being able to have Trent as an early pick, having Bruno, maybe that was again that false hope about United. Grealish obviously can be in and out of the team, but like as a balanced team, getting João Pedro as well, Richarlison as a possibility, all look great. And then Edouard has signed for is it Leicester he's signed for, and he's done F-all obviously since then. And yeah, it's trying to find another striker is probably front of my mind for the draft going forward.
Onana's probably been your quiet hero of he's scored twice, like, and nobody thought he'd do that,
Yeah, I was really made up with getting him on the waiver wire. He was one of the ones that was left out. The Core's done all right for me, like he usually does in the draft. Can pop up with one or two every now and then. So yeah, that's all good as well. But yeah, Jeff, how are you feeling on the draft side? Are you as active in the transfer window as Andy?
Yeah, I think I put about 6 or 7 requests in for getting rid of them, and 6 of them are for Nkunku. He's got to go. Absolutely got to go. What an IWC pick he is.
He'll go on the boil the second that happens. He'll be a free agent. Someone your Andy will pick him up at some point.
And you can quite happily have him. Because I get the feeling, obviously, once he start playing in Europe again, he'll be playing the European games on the Thursday and then not turning up on the Sunday. So it is what it is.
Yeah, that's it. And how about you, Connor? How's things going in League Two?
Not great. So far, I've won 1, lost 2 so far for it. So could be worse. I'm pretty happy with my team overall, but Jordan's brother's just smashing us all. And he's won 3 already.
This year, isn't it? Do you think it's really Jordan's brother, or do you think it's Jordan under an alien?
just coming just to put us all in our place down here.
If he gets promoted and there's dodgy trades going on, we know there's something.
I know.
Sure.
We all need to keep an eye on that. We thought it'd be Matty that one year he did it, but it could well be.
It's one that I'm pretty happy with my team, so I'm trying not to like tinker with it too much because, but it's just one of them. Like I think I've lost by like a few points each time. Like the main problem that I have is that I picked up Nicholas Jackson, Darwin Núñez, and Gabriel Jesus as my three forwards, and just like two of them aren't playing, and so so I got rid of Jesus last week and brought in Nketiah because I know that signing came in for Palace, and I was like, I'll grab him, and then if he gets a good run in the team, I'll be pretty happy. But then like Darwin, like I just don't want to drop him because I picked him really early on. But yeah, so things are going okay. I've done 6 waivers in total so far for it. But yeah, things are looking up, and I'm playing JP this week. So
okay.
So who's
Make
managed
sure
to
he's
draw
not one of them people
already?
who drifts off like Matty did last year near the end of the season. That's the good thing about our draft. I think we've done well on having like a league where everybody pretty much sticks at it right the way through.
This one as well has like stayed pretty engaged as well, which I'm pretty happy about. That was the worry like last season.
I know you'll crack the whip if not at Connor. So people were talking about doing a third league, weren't they? And you were like, all right, if you want to organise it, but I'm not fucking.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's hard work, isn't it?
It's like if I get relegated, I'll start a third league, and then someone else can do League 2.
Yeah,
just like jump up. But that's the plan. But yeah, third league will happen if I get relegated. If not, I don't think anyone will organise it.
Yeah, Chris Elliott saying here, big Cumbrian derby coming up this year. Gareth and Chris are a head-to-head coming up. I've got you, Andy. So,
yeah, the British Wrestling Experience derby.
We'll make Martin the ref. That could work. James, you've got Carl. Rory's got Jordan. Jeff's got James Taylor, who's doing well in the league so far. I'm open-minded to trades. If anyone's got any strikers, that would be the main thing.
If we all want strikers,
I think the only one who I'd probably give away my strikers is a 1 year, but while Chris Wood's in the team at Forest, I put Raheem Sterling in. I got him, just after he'd been transferred over, but it's going to be tough him getting into the Arsenal team because it's generally all centre midfielders who are getting cropped or suspended for him, and he plays on. It's like Saka's side of the pitch, isn't it?
Yeah, can't see how that'll work.
Yeah, do you lads think, as a general rule in the draft, that it's a better tactic to do lots and lots of waivers every week?
Yeah,
or kind of just trust your team and just
term.
Because I go back and forth on it, and I don't know. And like I've tried to be more active because there's years gone by where I've just left my team for weeks and weeks and weeks and just gone. I know they're solid players, and then you're just I'm losing every week, and then you feel like I should be doing something. You know what I mean? I'm not being a good manager if I'm not actually doing something. So
maybe a combination of both. Have like a spine, a core. It's mainly because that's always Garrett's tactic. It's the defenders he'll flip and flop with. And it's like that's what you can do that, can't you? It's like based on fixtures. Wouldn't want him all season, but I'll have him for a couple of weeks, and then maybe your more premium ones just stay all season.
I would say with my team at the moment, it's generally that tactic of defenders and midfielders, where I've got like 2 Duff defenders, which is Araujo and Issa Diop, and my midfield's very good apart from Tavernier for Bournemouth, so it's looking for the next few weeks, which is Brighton, Ipswich, maybe Brentford players, and then work from there. I think it's the best option, doing about 10 or 11 and just see what comes out of it on Friday morning.
It depends what's there to get as well, Andrew, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, if you're just swapping like for like, I think it's a bit pointless. You just listening in the wind.
It's always the case when you see someone score 1 or 2 on a Saturday, and like no one's got him.
Yeah, you're like, who's got him?
You fuckers putting the waiver in it.
That's the worst thing. I hate being. That's the worst thing about being mid-table right now. I've got neither benefit. I'm not bottom, so I'm not getting first choice in the waivers, and I'm doing not particularly great in the league. But speaking of not doing great in leagues, it's Will. Yeah, right, Will.
Hey, hello. I will not blemish this esteemed company for too long, as I am, of course, a Bedlam. No, I am in the second division, so I should not be here on this illustrious company. But I did want to say a few things. First of all, I do want to say
Not like you, mate.
there was. Oh, I blemish many a scene, many a scene. I do want to say, I thought I was worried. I was just bad at fantasy games, and then finally there was a fantasy game that was in my wheelhouse, which was the fantasy general election, and I managed on very short notice to put together a team that was in the top 100 of 11,000 participants.
Wow.
So I think it reassured me. Yes, I can play fantasy games. I just know nothing about football. and I'm okay with that. Like I used to know about football, and then football went all weird with money, and I just lost interest. So I'm okay with that. I also had a long rift, which I won't go into too much, about fantasy wrestling podcasts and about how poor Jeff's injury has completely ruined my draft league, because I had him down for going for at least 15 shows this quarter. And Jeff's just not going to reach that. I had bonus points expected for him sleeping at shows, getting lap dances at shows, and I'm really struggling. So what I want to know from either Jeff or Andy or I suppose Connor, James or Ben, I don't know anything about independent wrestling nowadays.
If it was 20 years ago, now we'd be top of the league.
Yeah.
Who in my British European indie podcaster draft league, fantasy league, should I swap Jeff for? Because I'm just at a complete loss. Liam's already got Andy, so I can't get Andy. Andy's gone.
Will I'd say Chris Linney because an iron liver like Jeff, so
That's a man who could hold his own.
Yeah, of course he doesn't sleep.
Will and Linney would be a good drinking competition.
Oh, I'd love
well, here's the thing, right?
That's WrestleMania 6 right there.
No offense to Chris. Chris is not a young looking man. No one would say Chris is a young looking man. When me and Chris went to watch England together,
Yeah.
people legitimately thought I was his dad. Now, listeners, you may not think, oh well, that's neither here nor there. Chris is fucking older than me, and I can't blame. Oh, Chris grew up where the water hits you softer, so he has really fair skin. We grew up in the same town. We didn't know each other until we kind of met up in the Beneverse, but we both grew up in Loughborough. We even went to the same FWA show in 2005, where I will say this: D'Lo Brown and Alex Shane had a very good Jeff Jarrett TNA mid-noughties main event. So yeah, I is old. Yes.
So you're not picking up Chris?
Well, I assume Eddie Sideburns has already picked him up in the draft league. So yeah, I am at a loss. So if anyone in the super chats or the chats have any suggestions of who I can replace Jeff, because Jeff is the workhorse, Jeff goes to all the shows Andy goes to, but he's more likely to pick up bonus points. So I'm at a loss. I'm just.
How are the bonus points decided?
Well, if you fall asleep at a show, if you get laptops at a show,
chance started.
Chance started, points spilt. These
Never.
are the bonus points.
Converted claps.
Watch Man City winning the title at a Rev Pro show. I remember, I really wanted Liverpool to win a few seasons ago, and I was just behind Jeff at the Rev Pro show that coincided with the end of the football league, Premier League, and Jeff literally. I've never seen somebody watch two things at the same time so well.
It was Luke Jacobs and Dan Maloney going on at the same time, and all you could hear from Jeff was like, "Yes!" and no one had done fuck all in ring.
Seriously, Jeff, the way you tilted your head so you could watch both things at the same time. It was incredible,
That's a veteran.
You saw both things perfectly.
Well, I usually tilt it forward, then I'm not enough.
Hey, Will, in your game, just asking, like, do you get many bonus points if one of the people you've got in your team ends up being on the show and wrestling on it?
Well,
it's a 6-pointer, surely.
Well, I mean that really does depend on whether the show is worth attending. That's the key question.
Well, GPW's always worth it. Oh, I've said too much. Anyway.
But anyway, I will let you guys go because you don't want League Two people like cramping.
Before you go, Will, just one more thing. There we go. For old time's sake. We'll do it like everyone. How's he doing in your draft, Connor? Where is
He's above me.
That man right there is above you.
Has he got Haaland again?
He has. He has indeed.
See.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and bring up how League Two is looking right now. So,
Benno, is your wrestling career? Do you only wrestle when Nigel McGuinness is an active wrestler? That's what I mean.
That's the rule. We've been secretly training together.
Inextricably linked, yeah.
But the thing is, though, like, we only spend half the training session on wrestling, so I know quite a few magic tricks now. And weirdly, I'm really good at shagging now. I don't know why. Anyway, moving on.
Or really bad at it.
Yeah. That podcast is not.
Don't start a podcast like he did. Jesus Christ.
I still laugh at like seeing him knocking around Wembley, walking around with his little his suitcase full of magic tricks, going, there goes Nigel, feeling bad for him off at his magic show. Little did I know he'd be at Wembley. What a man. Maybe he'll work me on the next day of retirement tour. We'll figure it out. We'll do something. But go ahead, Connor. This is the league. It's who's on top there?
Yes, that's Jordan's brother up there at top.
Doesn't sound real, Tyrone.
I know. So then, there's speaking of Will, let's have a wee look at his team, where it's not showing any of the points for some reason.
It's because it's Will. He's been disqualified.
There we go. Yeah, Holland very much carrying him through at the moment.
Good midfield there. Jota, Semenyo, Bruno G. Evan Ferguson, he'll be one who'll be resurrected, won't he? In many people's teams.
It's Ward Prowse has just joined Forest, doesn't he?
Forest, yeah.
If he's taking all their free kicks, he could be a decent.
Any good free agents, Connor?
Let's have a look. I know Sterling's one currently on there. But like, it's hard to like do it at like this point of the season when people's like just come in. We've got the new Liverpool man. I don't know if he's going to play. The new Liverpool man, but yeah, the Sterling. Jesus went last week.
Rashford.
Rashford.
I think in the draft he's worth having. You know, like if
Well,
especially this week, Southampton away this week, even just for 1 week.
He's usually the Chris Elliott special, isn't it? Rashford.
Yeah, like I know he's been shite and you wouldn't get him in the main game, but I think in a draft he's worth having as one of your 5 midfielders. I'd be going for him.
It's one of them. It's like minutes, isn't it? That in the draft is the main thing you're looking for.
Kudus as well. He should be on someone's team.
Yeah,
he's a really good option. I know he hasn't had any points yet, but like he's like.
I've seen him in a few legitimate teams. Like
absolutely, yeah. He's a good player. Yeah, really good player.
Yeah, there's a good
Harvey Barnes there as well,
floating around there. I think I had Harvey Barnes like week 1 and then dropped him.
Yeah, he seems to be getting his game now, though.
Yeah, there's like a good number of people who are on high scoring. A lot of midfielders, which I'm relatively happy. Like, but I think it's one of them. It's like we like Hwang. It's like from last season. It was like I'm just there, like, oh yeah, he's fine. But it's like what you were saying before, Jamesy. It's like just get rid of them if they're making you miserable. Sort of
yeah. Like Wolves' fixtures will turn eventually, so it's a bit like, oh, do I see it out or do I just go for the points now? You know.
Relative. Yeah, so there's a lot of that's the advantage of being what we were.
Adama Traore's there. Bit of a red herring.
I'm going to end up just spending all morning. So I think the waves close at 11. So yeah, that's my morning tomorrow. After all this, just going through it all.
It's always good, that reminder. Like somebody will end up putting it in our group chat, and I'll be like, "Shit, got to sort it." Usually you, Andy. I've got to get it. Got to get the vid.
It's the highlight of my Friday morning. That like usually round in me dinner. I was on my dinner about 11 o'clock, and
it's like scrolling through the list, like who's actually coming.
Refresh, and then 10 minutes later, the team's there. Who have I got? And then you go down the list. It's like, oh no, I've only
got
the
Thursday night ones that get you, isn't it? Where it's like it's same gears turn in my head. Where I'm like, when's the deadline this week? Oh yeah, it's Friday night. Wait, fuck, that means the waivers tonight. And then end up just about getting in or just missing it. There we go. Yeah, you and JP this week, Connor.
Yeah.
There you go. GRAPPL Discord.
How's JP getting along? I think JP's mid-table at the minute.
What I was going to ask about, like the YouTube FPL people, have they changed over the last season or to what you're watching this season? Would you say, Benno?
For me, yeah, it's mainly Focal. It's like the Threemium lads, Focal, Harry, and Raptor, pretty much. Raptors are a bit long for me, so I tend to not watch him as well.
He's got a new show, hasn't he, now, that therapy.
Full podcast, innit? Yeah. I'd like to listen to it, but it's like, not to do our own legs, but it's getting through a whole podcast is tough when there's a deadline coming up, isn't there? Like, if they're going to do a full podcast, it'll probably still be Planet FPL. But yeah, kind of still the old favourites, really. Not really anything new. Talking about you, Jamesy.
FPL Wire is my go-to now.
The team selections he's doing now, the little 20-minute team selection.
He's such a smart bloke. Just in terms of, he just has a way of laying things out and kind of, especially like wildcard strategy and that kind of thing. And I just find him very, very, very good. And yeah, James, Planet FPL as well. I think he's great. It's funny sometimes I think there's a big difference between being a good FPL content creator and being a good player. Like James Planet FPL never does well, you know what I mean? But yet you listen to him talk about
football,
but just talk, like to hear him talk about the fixtures and that kind of thing. Like it's funny that he never does well as a player. I think he kind of just likes to take punts and that kind of thing. And then you have someone like. Yeah, play exactly. But and then you have someone like FPL Harry, who's consistently I think that guy might be the best player in the world. Like every year, he's top 1,000, top 5,000. seems to just nail the right picks every single week. But I don't particularly enjoy watching his videos. I think they're
he's a bit boring, isn't he?
They're bland enough, like, you know what I mean? So it's like you could listen to someone who's really good and get really good tips, or you could listen to someone who's enjoyable to listen to and not a great player. You know what I mean? It's really, they're two totally different things, you know?
Yeah, that's it. Like, I'm trying to think there's anybody other. The only person I avoid is FPL Mate. Can't stand it.
Once he had a bit of as soon as he got a bit of criticism, he was like, "Oh, crumble, Danny," and "Oh no, I'm back now." And
he's just really annoying as well.
Like him. Yeah,
that's it. I fell off Black Box. I used to do that every week. I've gotten a little bit more consistent this year, but I haven't kept up. Scout have really fell behind. I feel like I'm going to use their fixture table in a second. Like, so still a great resource, but I don't watch any of their stuff anymore. I don't even know. I'm pretty sure I'm still subscribed, and I don't really. It's one of them where it probably comes up on my YouTube feed, and I don't even really pay mind to it anymore. That's how little I put them on. But that's a shame because they were the leader at one point, weren't they? But everybody just started doing their own stuff, so that's kind of there's more money in it, isn't there? But yeah, how about you lads? Anybody else listening to anyone or watching anyone?
No, I pretty much covered it for me, mate.
You're probably still FPL Andy, aren't you, Jeff?
I'm sort of trying to wean myself off them because, you know, obviously they all pick the same ones. I'm just maybe playing my own 4-0 sort of thing instead of being swayed with what they say. A lot of them, I'll have a look and have a quick scroll through to see the team at the end. But apart from that, I don't really bother.
Exactly what I do. Skip to the end.
Yeah, sack all the waffle off and just see what it is at the end, and that's it. Done.
That's what I like about Focal's ones, though, because you'll do one where it's like, you know, the top 10k managers and the people they've brought in this week, and who's, you know, who's most owned by those top 10k. And it's information dense. It's 10 minutes and then you're out and you're done. Like, that's probably the best ones to watch.
Above average are quite good, actually. Do you know those guys? Above average FPL?
Yeah, I've seen that. I think I follow them on Twitter, but I don't think I watch
they seem like two sound blokes, and also they do a stream on the Sunday evening of the game week, and they do really good charts. They summarize every game. I don't know how they do it, but they put really good charts up of how the game went and that kind of thing. I think they're quite good, and also they're quite heavy on data, but they're not they don't take themselves seriously at the same time. So they're kind of an easy listen from that point of view, you know.
That's why I always used to recommend Planet FPL, because it was the most mates in pub kind of like vibe you got out of anybody, definitely. But I was going to say, future plans. What's everyone's thoughts going forward? Captaincy this week, Haaland, Salah. It could be either. I've had it on Salah all week, but I think I'm possibly leaning Haaland.
Forest at home, aren't they? So that's probably the fixture to go for. Look at them. I think Jamesy mentioned earlier about City's next 2 or 3 fixtures. Tough, them ones. Brentford, Newcastle. They have a good record at Newcastle, but I think the next 2 they could come unstuck against Brentford. I'm 100% certain about that.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the fence. I think I'm probably going to go with my thinking earlier, and Salah. I just feel like the ceiling's higher with a slightly better fixture against Nottingham Forest. But then I saw like there was a thing Praz brings up, doesn't he, Jamesy, where it's like the betting odds, and betting odds wise, it looks like City are expected to score a few more, like slightly more goals than Liverpool. So that maybe swayed me a little bit. So I think there's quite a few going Haaland instead with Brentford at home. But toss up really, isn't it?
Yeah, I have to go. I don't have Haaland, so I have to go Salah pretty much. But I know I'm happy enough with that. And in terms of plans, like I need to start thinking of getting Haaland back in. So I just need to roll now. I need to roll for a few weeks. I really need to get to I want to have Haaland back in. If you look at City's fixtures there, after that Newcastle game, Fulham at home, I need to have him back in the team for that game. So, and like, it's hard enough to get to him in 2 transfers. It'd be lovely to have 3 transfers, just so you can move funds around a little bit more easily. Like,
I think you'll never get to that stage. Should get laughing. 3 transfers in the bank.
Yeah, I know. I kind of have to though, really, because I would like to not have to. Like, the obvious way to get him is get rid of Salah, and then it's not too hard then to raise the other 2.5 million to get him. I'd like to be in a position to maybe sell Palmer instead to get him, which means I nearly need a third transfer to get a few more. But it's just so hard. And as Connor said earlier, he's 15.2 million now. So it's like, okay, more money again. So I'd like to have 3 free transfers if I could. But yeah, as you said, that also could be very wishful thinking.
I wouldn't be surprised if he drops with the next couple of games coming up, though. Like, a lot of people might get off him, so that may if you can get in early for game week 6, hopefully he might drop for you.
Yeah, because it's not like last season, weren't it, where he was 70-80% owned, and
which meant he had to sell loads to drop.
Did it? Yeah. Meant nothing, did it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of them. Like it's. I think I'm just going to go the rest of the season now, just with Haaland and Salah. I'm just going to work around it. Now that I've got them, especially, it's like the idea of having to do that jigsaw piece and bring them back in at some point. I think they're just going to stay, and I think there's just so many other good options now. You look at those fixtures, you know, Palace have got a good few fixtures coming up, and there's cheap options there. Fulham have got a good run of fixtures outside of that City game. There's cheap options there.
Villa.
I think that was kind of my thought at the start. It was like my team's going to be weak from the start of the season, but once we've got a bit more information and we start getting a few game weeks in, there's going to be options, isn't it? There's going to be other ones. So it's kind of boring, but that's the way I'm thinking at the minute.
You would say there, West Ham's got some good fixtures there. Yeah. I've seen that Fulcrum's gone down in price. It's about 6.8. But
I think he's injured as well.
Is he injured as well?
Yeah.
Right.
Like Bowen, remember in years gone by, loads of people, and like nobody has even mentioned Bowen. Nobody has him. And again, if you can get him in for those fixtures, look at that: Fulham, Chelsea, Brentford, Ipswich. Spurs defense even isn't great, you know.
They usually end up about 4-3 them games between them and them and Spurs. So you've got a good chance of getting points there. Leicester, you know, like if you want Vardy in at 5.5. Everton, Bournemouth, Southampton. Good 3 out of 4 there.
Who got Vardy in the end in the draft? Didn't somebody get him in like last? Was it not you, James?
It wasn't even in the draft. It was I think it was last week. He came up in the waiver. I think somebody got in a good striker who'd been signed late in the window, maybe, and
I think it was Jordan who got shut of him.
You're right. I think he got someone better in. I had nobody, so I was perfectly happy to get him in.
Yeah, for me, transfer-wise, like I say, I think Robertson's probably coming in. Can't afford Trenton, that's to take a hit, and if I'm doing a wild card in a couple of weeks, that's just not worth it. So I'll probably do that and go with the slightly cheaper Robertson. Outside of that, yeah, I think a lot of people this week, you look at like the teams this week, the teams people have got players from all have pretty decent fixtures, don't they? So like everyone's kind of pretty well set this week, aren't they? Probably a false sense of confidence, really, outside of Arsenal and Tottenham. But yeah, anybody else? Anybody that's got future plans, Andy?
I'm going to say there quickly that Liverpool with like them next 5 fixtures could have a 6-point gap, couldn't they? At the top, like looking at Man City, who are the only other team who's consistently winning.
And Arsenal could be a long way back as well with those in the next 2. Like if they lose to City are is it 8 ahead of them already?
Yeah,
you know, but it's a long way back to. I know it's early days, but giving City a lead isn't a good thing.
No, definitely not. Yeah. Anyone else? Anyone got any plans? Anything stand out?
No, I did have a moment where I thought about not captaining Haaland this week because I was thinking, I was like, João Pedro's playing Ipswich. Shall I captain him? And then I was just like, no, Connor, it's like
too early in the season for that, isn't it?
Not give it and do some of this sort of stuff.
That's the catch-up move in game week 30. That's when you do that.
That's your Emmanuel Dennis move there, Connor.
I had the thought, and I was like, what are you doing? But as far as plans for me, is like I think I want shirt of Guardiola soon, especially with the Champions League starting. So I think changing things around and try and avoid a wild card as long as I can.
How long do you think you'll go? Do you think you'll make it to... I always... My problem is I'll always end up using it around Christmas time, and it never really pays off. I always think early is probably better, but there's just something about, well, if I save it, it'll somehow come in handy later on, and then there's less of a bridge to the second half of the season. I think I'm going to try and learn from that this year.
Yeah, if I can make it to... I think there's another international break in November,
October,
is there? It's October.
October.
It's 2 before Christmas. Yeah.
So if I can make it to there, I'll be happy. Yeah, that's the goal. But if everything goes horribly wrong soon, I'm probably going to join everyone in that game week 6.
That'll be the week where your YouTube algorithm will just be filled with wildcard drafts. It's coming. Anything else you want to discuss, lads? Anything else, Jamesy? Anything else FPL wise we haven't touched on? Anything else to go into?
I don't think so.
Looking forward to the rest of the season, really. That's kind of it, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. I suppose the Champions League coming up now is going to change things. Like it's City's team has been pretty consistent for the first 3 weeks because they just had a game a week. Like, it'll be interesting to see what happens now with someone like Rico Lewis, when even if Pep thinks Lewis is one of his best defenders, does he play him then in the Champions League games and maybe rest him in the league match? Like, you will have some rotation there, you know what I mean? So, yeah, and as you said, like, teams then like Newcastle become very interesting. Like Isaac, once a week, basically, you know what I mean? That they're in the Carabao Cup, but they don't have any European games. So stuff like that, like the likes of Brentford players. They're only playing once a week, that kind of thing. Your Ezes, your Boumos, they become more valuable because, yeah. But like those guys, 90-minute players who are playing once a week, they become very valuable assets now. Whereas your likes of your Fodens, Saka, they're all going to get even Saka's going to get rested a little bit, I think, because there's extra Champions League games now this year. It's 8 matches they play as well. So like it's most good teams are going to play midweek games from now until Christmas.
Well,
teams that are in Europe and
then again with Champions League, they can get like 2 or 3 victories and then just like I think they qualify that way.
Yeah. It's not that hard to get through now. Like but for the next few weeks, like the likes of Villa haven't been in the Champions League in ever. Really, they were the old European Cup. Their fans aren't expecting to turn up to Villa Park to see a reserve team. They're
because
going to
it's
play their best players.
£95 a ticket, innit?
No one's going to turn up. Yeah.
Well, WB prices that. Jesus.
Chris Elliott makes a good point though. Like Palmer has actually been left out of Chelsea's Conference League, but that's great for FPL because like that's there's no chance of him then playing on Thursday nights.
I was pleased with that because I've got him in the draft too. So I was happy on both fronts there.
I saw somebody say about that. That's like the type of thing if you did it in Football Manager, your team would never recover because your morale would go down. And you'd never be so fuming that he got left out. But yeah, it makes sense, I suppose, when they got that many fucking players. Does great stuff. Well, yeah, I suppose we'll leave it there. That's plenty to play for still. Early little check in there on the old FPL. Good to see the second league doing well as well, Connor. We'll come back on the next international break. Check in again, see how you're getting on. Make sure you're putting that young JP in his place.
I'll do my best.
And we got anything you want to mention? Anything you want to plug? Andy, Graham Hops? People should checking that out, mate.
Follow me football podcast. It's probably a one season thing. It's doing all right at the moment. Go and follow it at Ground Hops Pod. I think we've got about 4 or 5 episodes. We last went to Chadderton versus AFC Liverpool, which was Chadderton 2, AFC Liverpool 5. Me and my mate Andrew Gibney have been to watch Chadderton last 3 times, and we've seen them get beat an aggregate of 18 goals to 3. But
good luck, mate. Good luck, champ.
Top of the Northwest Counties Football League, and boy, it's every time we go, you just see 5 put past them, 7 put past them. I think we're a curse at the moment, but yeah.
Did you put the table the right way around?
I think they have, but yeah, just one of them weird things. But go and follow the football podcast at Ground Hops Pod.
Good man. Anyone else? normal places.
Jeff,
where's the GoFundMe?
Wish Jeff luck with his operation.
Yeah, best wishes, mate.
Yeah, I hope they get the right leg. I think the blue. The blue cast will give it away.
I hope you heal up quickly, mate.
Cheers.
I'll pull it for you, mate. But yeah, there we go. That's another FPL Club in the books. We'll, like I say, we'll catch you on the next one. Most likely the next international breaks. Like you said, there's one in October. I think there's one in November, and then we'll make some kind of break in December. There's pretty much a monthly little thing we can slot into. So yeah, we'll keep these coming. We'll see if we can track down Chris Lene wherever he may be and get him on the next one. But yeah, outside of that, lads, thanks for joining us. Everyone, thanks for tuning in. The 2 super chats tonight, so a very successful stream. Thanks to the lads for that one. Thank you for Will for his one and his running, and thank you Chris Nagy for his one as well. Keep those coming, and we'll catch you again on the next one. Good night, all.
Yo, Pedro.
Right.
See ya.